Well, good morning, everyone. I'm joined this morning by our City Council President, Dr. Jennifer Campbell. Soon to join us will be Rick Gentry, the President and CEO of the San Diego Housing Commission, Tamara Kohler, CEO of the Regional Task Force on the Homeless, and Jonathan Castillo, who is the Chief Regional Officer for PATH, People Assisting the Homeless. I want to acknowledge Joel Roberts is also here, the CEO of PATH. Good to see you, my friend. I'm really excited to be here today. This is an important day in our city's progress in addressing our homelessness crisis. So allow me to tell you some more. I first off would note that we originally hoped to hold this event outdoors at Robb Field, just down the way, but the threat of rain forced us inside where it is warm and where it is dry. We are fortunate that we can come out of the bad weather. Our unsheltered neighbors, of course, are not so lucky. And that's why we cannot rest until we have done everything we can to find a safe home for all of our city's unsheltered population. Today, we are coming together to announce an important step in that direction, the Coordinated Street Outreach Program. The start of this program is a seismic shift in the way that we connect San Diegans experiencing homelessness. If we're going to meaningfully address the challenge of homelessness in San Diego, we must change the status quo. The first step is to change the way we reach out to the homeless. For the most part, we have asked our police officers to serve as social workers. Our police department's homeless outreach team is doing the work that changes lives. They do weekly events together with healthcare professionals, social workers, mental health clinicians, food assistance workers, and other resources in communities across our city. And they're the only ones doing that coordination among various partners. And in the past few years, we have made some improvements with the help of great partners like Alpha Project, Father Joe's Villages, Veterans Villages of San Diego, Mental Health Systems, and Jewish Family Services. We have funded outreach programs through all of these programs, but that just hasn't been enough. And we haven't provided these outreach efforts with the tools they need to work together. Up to now, street outreach has been done in silos, driven by how the worker is funded, not by what the person needs. Let me give you an example of what this would mean. It would be, let's say, an outreach worker who is funded by a program that is entitled to focus on veterans. Now, here in San Diego, of course, that's an important thing to do, but what if that outreach worker encounters only veterans in their conversations in the community? Then it all works out pretty good. But the fact of the matter is, what happens when that outreach worker comes across someone who is not a veteran? What should that person then do? Our old system did not give that outreach worker many options. It might have allowed that outreach worker to offer a bottle of water, maybe a pair of socks, or some referral information, but that isn't the way to build trust and to drive change on this important issue. So imagine instead a situation where that same worker could reach into their toolkit and offer the homeless individual actually what they needed. Maybe for that person that day, it can be an opportunity to reconnect with family, enroll in medical care, or enter drug treatment programs. It's an encounter that goes from being maybe helpful to one that could change a life. And with this new coordinated outreach program, we're acknowledging that we need to provide a whole toolbox of options to the people who interact with our homeless. Last summer, the City Council had the foresight to allocate funds in the city budget to improve outreach to unsheltered San Diegans. And our San Diego Housing Commission responded to that direction by designing a program that not only made our outreach team bigger, but it's going to make it work a lot better. Now we have a team of people. You see them behind me this morning. And by the way, you guys look great. Thank you so much for what you do. This team of talented outreach workers behind me, we now have in the field. And they'll fan out across our city to put in the work and the time with our unsheltered population. They will help them overcome the challenges, the unique challenges, whether it's drug or alcohol addiction, mental illness, physical health problems, or other legal entanglements. We call it person-centered, neighborhood-based, trauma-informed, housing-focused approach. Now, that sounds like a lot of jargon, I understand, but it is truly meaningful, and it represents a change in the way that we're doing this important work. It means that our outreach staff will be able to focus in the specific neighborhoods, become regular faces in those communities, and build trust with the folks that we'd like them to work with. It means that they'll be able to better share resources and work through tough cases by sharing information with each other over an extended period of time. Probably more importantly than anything, it means that we are doing things differently now. My promise to the workers here today and all of their colleagues and those who may watch this later at PATH, who will be joining them out in the field, is that I support you. And I will work with you to make sure that you have the tools and the resources that you need to be successful. We have been waiting for this effort to start, and that's again why I'm so happy to be here today. I want to share this podium with a couple other folks who are consequential in making this day possible, and that starts with a committed partner I have in our work to try and end chronic homelessness in this city. We are in her district this morning, City Council President Dr. Jennifer Campbell. Council President, can you give us a few words?
Thank you. Now I'm as tall as Todd. Oh, thank you, Mayor Gloria. And good morning, everyone. It's so nice to see you. Thank you for coming. I'm Council President Jennifer Campbell, honored to represent this community and the rest of District 2 here in the city. Today, we're announcing an expanding outreach to the homeless people in our beach communities. Every person has individual reasons for being homeless, and we want to be able to build a trusting relationship with them so that we can help them to be able to have permanent housing. I'm going to take this off. Over the past years, the city's programs for the homeless have been mostly in downtown, and yet many people in need of these services are located in other parts of the city. That's why we are here at the Ocean Beach Rec Center with our outstanding professional outreach workers right back here to announce this new phase of our strategy to decrease homelessness. Our city's community action plan on homelessness was adopted by the City Council in October of 2019. It calls for housing all homeless youth and all homeless veterans and at least 1/2 of those without shelter within 3 years of passage. So you can see we're about halfway through those 3 years. And in spite of COVID, we have made excellent progress in reaching these goals. And today brings another important step. We will have trained professionals meeting with the homeless on a personal, one-on-one level at the locations where the homeless are located, learning about them and helping them on a path to success based on their individual needs. I look forward to the work that will be done in our beach communities, and I'd like to introduce our next speaker, who is Lisa Jones, I believe. Yeah, Lisa Jones from the wonderful San Diego Housing Commission, which has in just 6 years housed over 9,000 persons. So thank you to the Housing Commission, and let me introduce Lisa.
It'll be Tamara.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We've changed the agenda. So now I'm going to introduce the wonderful head of our regional task force on the homeless, and that is Tamara Kohler, who is the CEO and has done such a fantastic job in unifying all the providers, and getting the cities and county together and making everything work out so that we're making great progress in this resolution of homelessness. Thank you, Tamara.
Well, thank you, and good morning. It rains so rarely in San Diego that I think it is something that we stop and pay attention to, and I think what's happening today is something we stop and pay attention to. Every neighborhood is different, and our unsheltered people living in every neighborhood have different needs, yet they all have housing solutions that are needed. The first step in assisting them to their housing efforts is having people who can talk to them and talk to them often, build their trust, and connect them to the services they need. This neighborhood-based, person-centered approach is how we will be approaching outreach across the region, bolstered by a strong regional system of care coordination to address any needs. This coordinated approach follows the new outreach policies and standards developed by the Regional Task Force, adopted by our board for the San Diego region, These were designed by outreach workers, the very folks that do the work. This is important. We'll put these policies into practice here in Ocean Beach, and they will serve as a model for other communities to follow. What will ultimately make us successful is the coordination and collaboration that will happen between these outreach workers, our shelter and service providers, our government entities, our healthcare professionals, and our healthcare system, and so many more. All focused on what is best for that individual person, not just on an individual organization can offer. Collectively, we are far more effective. I want to thank Mayor Gloria, Council President Campbell, the Housing Commission, and PATH for leading in this progressive approach. And especially the outreach workers, who are the folks doing the real change in the field. We support your efforts. We know that you will have profound impact, neighborhood by neighborhood. We will make this approach successful. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jonathan Castillo. I'm the Chief Regional Officer with People Assisting the Homeless, or PATH. I first want to give a big thank you to Mayor Gloria and Council President Campbell for having us here today, and thank you both for your leadership and commitment to ending homelessness in San Diego. I also want to thank the City Council for approving the coordinated street outreach contract in partnership with the San Diego Housing Commission and Regional Task Force. PATH's mission is to end homelessness for individuals, families, and communities, and we are proud to be an integral part of San Diego's continuum of care. In 2013, PATH San Diego operated Connections Housing, a one-stop supportive service and residential community in downtown, and has helped more than 1,100 people make it home in the county. As one of the largest homeless service providers in the state of California, we are excited to expand our successful outreach model citywide. In partnership with the San Diego Housing Commission, we are shifting to a street-based case management model for engaging individuals experiencing homelessness across the city. We've already seen great success with our Mid-City Outreach program, and we'll expand this model of neighborhood-specific outreach to communities all over the city of San Diego, including a dedicated team here in Ocean Beach. With me here today are PATH's dedicated members of the Coordinated Street Outreach program. PATH has assembled a team of experienced professionals with backgrounds in social work, mediation, and homeless service navigation. Members of our team include clinical social workers, substance use disorder specialists, people with lived experience, diverse and seasoned human services experience, and some of our team members were previously served in the military, have been teachers, journalists, volunteer outreach workers with community or faith-based organizations. All of them are extremely skilled at communicating and conveying empathy and building trusting relationships with people in need. Our team is multilingual in Spanish, Tagalog, and Arabic speakers. We train every staff on evidence-based practices, such as trauma-informed care, motivational interviewing, and harm reduction approaches to ending homelessness. San Diego's homeless service system is hard to navigate, and we are desperately short on the most critical resources for resolving someone's episode of homelessness, which is housing. That is why the model PATH uses is highly person-centered and focused on housing first. PATH's outreach specialists focus on persons' individual needs rather than having to connect them to a specific shelter or a program. Our teams have a whatever-it-takes mindset, and they heavily put emphasis on problem solving. We do not believe that people don't want services and choose to be homeless. We just need to figure out the right approach. Our staff are also equipped with tools they need to do their jobs successfully, like transportation and flexible financial assistance funds. The implementation of this Coordinated Street Outreach program is just one component of the city's Community Action Plan on Homelessness, and PATH looks forward to actualizing the plan through the community and collaboration as continued partners. Thank you.
Thank you and good morning. If anyone could invent a good mask that goes with glasses, I'd be glad to pay them for whatever they can come up with. but thank you and good morning. I'm Rick Gentry with the San Diego Housing Commission, and welcome. The Coordinated Street Outreach Program is a major step in the right direction to address homelessness in the city of San Diego. For many individuals and families with the greatest need, this program will begin the path from the streets to longer-term housing options. It strategically focuses resources in neighborhoods impacted by homelessness. This program was developed in consultation with Org Code, experts in the area of addressing homelessness, and it incorporates the best practices for outreach that are part of the City of San Diego's Community Action Plan on Homelessness. The San Diego Housing Commission contracted with the Corporation for Supportive Housing to develop the city's action plan. The Corporation for Supportive Housing applied its national expertise in homelessness to work with the city and the Housing Commission to create a comprehensive strategy for San Diego. This community action plan highlighted the need for housing-focused coordinated street outreach services. The plan also emphasized the importance of experienced service providers to connect with individuals and families experiencing homelessness. This program is designed to achieve both of these objectives. People Assisted in the Homelessness, or PATH, Joel, good to see you here today, sir, has a track record of success and has helped pioneer street-based case management in our region. The Housing Commission is very pleased to be contracted with PATH to operate this program. Outreach teams from PATH will focus on developing effective connections with individuals and families experiencing homelessness through two primary functions. The Mobile Homelessness Response Team will provide street-based case management services. These services will focus on connecting clients to supportive services and permanent housing. The members of this team will be working in specific neighborhoods throughout the city with the highest concentration of individuals experiencing homelessness. In addition, the program will include a rapid response team to quickly respond to requests for service citywide. These dedicated outreach specialists will help individuals experiencing homelessness meet their basic needs, and they will work to improve their sense of safety through ongoing case management. With these new approaches, Mayor Gloria and the City Council are advancing the city's strategy to address homelessness through a client-centered, system-based approach. Thank you, Mayor Gloria and Council President Campbell, for your leadership and your support for this outreach program. My thanks also to PATH and their teams for their commitment to this effort. Joel, we've had a great relationship with your folks going back to 2013 when you first moved to town. Thank you for being here. I also want to acknowledge the San Diego Housing Commission's Homelessness Housing Innovations Division under the leadership of Lisa Jones for their great work in this program. And I'll also point out that the Regional Task Force on the Homeless, Tamara Kohler's leadership, is an essential organization for this program as well as many other homelessness initiatives throughout the county. And what I'd also like to do in closing is to point out that a major part of our effort here in the Housing First approach is that of recognizing the freedom of choice of those on the streets. And as the speaker just before me indicated, we don't believe that people are on the streets through choice, but through circumstance. And what we're trying to do is help make choice available in as many ways as possible so that people can use our resources to help them get themselves off the streets. We see this as an effort to help people help themselves. It's something the Housing Commission has been involved in for some time. Again, I will thank Mayor Gloria for his leadership, and thank you very much for this morning. Mayor Gloria.
Thank you, Rick. It's great to see you, my friend. And don't worry, we're glad that you made it. We know that driving in the rain in San Diego is no small feat, right? But more importantly, I know Rick Gentry was working hard because he doesn't let the grass grow, right? He just always working. So, Rick, thank you for what you do, as well as Lisa from your team. I want to shout out Keely Halsey, Dave Rowland, and Ashley Bailey from my team for also putting together this effort. And I just want to wrap up by saying a couple of key points, and then we'll be happy to take some questions, probably best one-on-one given the setup that we have, social distance, right? But I want to thank Council President Campbell We are in her district today. I know that there is a high concentration of unsheltered individuals, particularly here in Ocean Beach. And so this effort is responsive to the concerns of the residents in your district. And there is no greater champion on the council for this issue than Dr. Campbell, who particularly is helpful right now as we work our way through this pandemic. So thank you, Council President. And then to this regional effort that you hear between the Housing Commission, the Regional Task Force on the Homeless, PATH, all coming together because this is not a simple problem to solve. In fact, it's the most complex one that I know of. And it causes all of us to have to work together in new and in different ways because what we've been doing isn't getting the results that San Diegans want. And so therefore, we have to go differently. And while we are in Ocean Beach today, and there will be an emphasis in Council District 2, the fact is that today's announcement is citywide in scope. Because it doesn't matter where I go in this city, every neighborhood is elevating this as their highest issue. And think about that. In the middle of a pandemic and an economic recession, that San Diegans are saying very clearly that they are unhappy with the state of affairs when it comes to how we are addressing homelessness. This is the city rising up to try and address that differently, not with a law enforcement-led approach, but one that is more trauma-informed, human-centered, neighborhood-based, housing-focused. And I want to just wrap up by, again, acknowledging the folks from PATH who are here today. Jonathan, it's great to see you. Joel, of course. But the workers who are going to be out on the street. Because it's real easy to talk from a distance about the homeless. It's a whole nother thing to go out there day after day after day and build the relationships and trust that will get someone to get off the streets. Gary Worth and I were together earlier this week at Father Joe's Villages, talking to 3 formerly homeless women, all of whom who've literally spent decades on the streets. And when asking them, what caused you to be homeless for 12 years, 20 years, 7 years, what was it? And it was about needing the courage to step forward, to have the strength to say yes to services, to be willing to say yes to getting off the streets. There was no simple answer to any of those individuals' stories, but all of them indicated that it took time to build trust for them to eventually say, yes, I would like to come off the streets. That is what these San Diegans will be doing, and will be doing for the long haul, to go out there day after day to build that trust, to build those bridges that will get more folks off the streets. This is important. We are too wealthy of a city and too wealthy of a state and too wealthy of a nation to have thousands of people living unsheltered on days like today and even on days with good weather. And so the work starts now. This is not going to be quick. It's going to take a lot of time, and I ask for the public's patience as we do the work. But know that we have committed professionals who are trained to do this work and to do it well, and we will keep working until we solve this problem. It's going to be hard. It won't be done overnight, but we can get there with continued persistence. I thank every one of these workers who are here because you do the hard stuff. It's easy to stand up here on a podium and run your mouth for a minute or two. You guys are the ones that go out to do there, and I want you to hear very clearly from the mayor, from the council president, from our regional leaders in the housing community. We have your backs. We're supporting you, and we want you to be successful, and I want you to know how we can better help you do the work that you do going forward. So with that, I think that is the end of our program this morning. Thank you for being here. Thank you for helping to spread the word. Thank you for letting folks know that we're changing the status quo on homelessness in the city of San Diego. Thank you, guys.